So we're here with Cork City FC women's manager Danny Murphy. Danny, great to be back at the club. You're back a couple of months now, I suppose. How are you finding it?
Yeah, good. Been challenging, but with a lot of positives. We're really starting to see a lot of improvement. So yeah, as I said, it has been challenging at times, and not just for me. I think for the players as well. Probably some of the demands I put on them is different to what they're probably used to, and it's probably been a little bit difficult for them maybe to get to grips with that at times. But I think that there's a lot of positives going on, and I'm really starting to see a difference in the performances on the pitch. Not quite in the results yet, but definitely in terms of performance.
But in terms of if you're seeing the performances improve, if you're seeing training better, games better, that's surely going to lead into better results as well. That's the aim, really, isn't it?
Yeah, no, obviously. Look, I think training's definitely improved, vastly improved. I think that in terms of the games, we've definitely improved in areas in the matches. I definitely think we've become more competitive against some of the stronger sides. But I still think we we give up that sloppy goal at times, and we get punished for it. And when we just seem to give them up at the wrong time in the game, and too easy a chance where it's never going to be a perfect game and there's going to be mistakes made. But can we make mistakes in better areas where it doesn't lead to a goal?
Have you had to kind of change the culture within the squad a bit, maybe just in terms of training, in terms of the general attitude, in terms of the mentality in the squad?
I think I've not really had to change it in terms of I've completely changed everything around and come in and this is where I think I just kind of gave them a little bit more I want to see more of their own personality.
Yeah.
I want them to enjoy being at training. You have to enjoy being there, otherwise when you get there you're not going to perform to your best of your ability anyway. And I know we've spoke about it before, and I've said you're starting to see some of their characters come out in them a little bit in terms of I want them to have a bit of banter. You want them to talk, and you want them to get on, because I think if you're happy and you're enjoying football and you're turning up to training and enjoying being there, then my job's easier. I just have to put on a session because they're already enjoying being there, so the quality is going to get better anyway. So it's just kind of been a little bit more relaxed in terms of that. But in terms of we have a different way of how we're playing, so our shape's different. We really want to high press teams, and probably some of the demands are put on them, and making training a little bit more difficult than probably what it was. And I think that they're probably the little changes that I've made. But obviously the team shape's a massive change to it. How we want to press and how hard we expect them to work within training. They're probably the things that we've changed mostly, really.
And it's important to have that bit of fun and the bit of personality and the bit of crack and banter within the squad, isn't it? Because that comes out on the pitch. Then even people watching, you were a bit of a character on the pitch yourself, and a lot of players in your era were. That's important as well, and people like to see that, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I think it's massively important. I think that if you can enjoy being there and you have a personality and you can show it in how you play, and it attracts people, because I think people then start to like your personality as well as your football, and then if you can attract more people enjoying what you are doing and what we're doing as a team, and if we can create more of a personality, it's even the small little things with the TikTok and the Instagram live, and getting the girls more involved and stuff, doing that. And you want young girls to watch them. We want young girls to have someone to aspire to and look at and go, I want to be like an Eva Mangan or a Dan Burke or a Becky Cassin, Zara Foley. There's a lot of local girls playing for Cork City. And we want girls to look up to them and come out and watch games.
And in terms of looking at the squad, have you had to make many changes? Do you think that you will have to make many changes to the squad as time goes on?
I think there's been a big change in shape and structure and how we want it to look. Do I know my best team yet? Not really. I think that we've never consistently had the same team every week. I don't think we've been able to play the same players in the same position every week. So it's been hard to say, that's my back three, or that's my midfield four. That's been really difficult, but I think that a lot of girls have shown different qualities. Some of the young girls that have come up, like Chloe, Ellie, Heidi, Fiona, when they've come in, they don't look out of place.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to juggle with and try and fixate and get the right things going.
I suppose in terms of like the women's game in general, the profile of the women's game, obviously it's probably never been bigger, and there's never been more girls playing football. There's never been more people watching women's football. I suppose the Euros is your prime example, and England in the Euros and so on. I mean, that was massive, the attention that the women's game got then, and you'd like to see that translate maybe to a local level here, and people going to watch games at Turner's Cross, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, I think the money that has been invested in women's football in the UK is vast. Like, it's a lot of money that goes into it. I mean, you look at, they've probably got 3 or 4 tiers below. I think there's 7 tiers in the English level of the women's game, and like the money now is going all the way down to like the 5th tier. So like, you know, there's a lot of money being passed down through the clubs, but there's also added expenditures where clubs can make some extra money, and they can, you know, do other things. Whereas I think we're kind of a little bit limited here in like being able to do that. I think that it will massively improve here in the next 2 to 3 years. I think there's things that we could do better. I think we need to have more engagement within the community as a women's side of the club. I think we need to try and do more stuff within schools, but then the hard part of that is a lot of girls are at college or they're at work and they've got jobs. So to go into schools, they're probably working on.
They have to take time off then to do that.
And that's hard as well. So like, you want to kind of grow it, but you're kind of limited to how far you can grow it certain periods of time. So I think we need to, you know, our identities changing in terms of we want to be more involved with the community and with the Cork Schoolgirls League and with the Cork Women's League, and trying to, you know, build better relationships with them, so that, you know, we're all working together. Because I think if, you know, we need them and they also need us, because if we're successful and more kids are interested in playing the game, so that means more schoolgirl kids are actually going to join the local clubs and play, and then for more of them girls are then ending up going into playing into the women's league if they don't quite make it at a high enough level. So like, everyone benefits, and I think that everyone's sticking together and working on things together to try and make a benefit, and that includes Cove as well. But, you know, for me, it's like, I'm only really concerned about what we can do to try and grow it. And I think if we keep, you know, building the relationships with these people, then we can, everyone's has success and everyone's doing well, and then all of a sudden our Gainer Cup teams are better than all the other. We've got the biggest, how are we not doing the best?
And like, if you look at the Cork Schoolgirls League and you're looking at the various clubs there, they're the clubs producing this talent that hopefully might be, certainly their best players might end up playing with Cork City, or maybe even going on to a higher level again in the future. I mean, that's the pathway, isn't it?
Oh yeah, ultimately, look, without the schoolgirls clubs, like, we wouldn't have an Eva Mangin, Zara Foley, Dan Burke, Lauren Walsh. Like, if you go for our team, we've got 9, 10 girls, probably 15 of the girls are actually Cork-based players, and they've all come through a schoolgirls club. Now, we've probably taken them at 17, 18, but someone else has had to do all the foundations between that. So from under 6, whenever the girls started, up to under 16, like, someone else has had to put in that time, that dedication. You know, probably not got paid, probably, you know, give up their free time and have their own kids, and probably at some stage they'd only had 4 girls at training and have had to recruit other girls to come and do it. So I think, like, having that appreciation for them people that do that within them clubs, and, you know, the amount of level of commitment it is, because it is a big commitment for parents, and the majority of the people who run in the schoolgirls clubs, in the girls, are definitely parents. You know, and it used to be a thing where I feel like people go, well, sure, no one else will do the girls team, so I said I'd do it. Like, whereas I feel now that actually people want to do it. People want to take on a girls team. They can see that the benefit, and, you know, I think that without them, we wouldn't have some of the players we have now. I think it's important that we show, like, we understand that, and that, you know, people know that we, especially from my point of view, that as a club, that we appreciate the time and effort that people are putting before we've even got the kids.
Tell us about what you're doing with the girls wearing the jerseys of their clubs in the warm-up of the game at the weekend.
So on the weekend, so what we're going to do is, come Saturday, we're inviting all the schoolgirls clubs out to Turner's Cross for the game against Sligo at 5 o'clock. So we're inviting all the teams out, and kind of what we wanted to do was, you know, we're going to do a little bit tonight in training, do like some photos with the girls with their shirts, and kind of have a little bit of say about what club they come from, and do a little profile on it. And then come Saturday in the game, like, the girls are going to wear their club shirts for the warm-up. Just to show that, you know, kind of like an appreciation day for the Cork Schoolgirls League and the Cork Women's League, and just show that we want your support, and we're willing to give you support as well, and just, you know, we want to work together with them. And conversations I've had with the 2 ladies involved is very positive, and, you know, they want to, you know, have good conversations, and we all want to work together and try and get the same common goal.
And as you mentioned, like, it is mutually beneficial for the clubs and for Cork City, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely it is for us. In my opinion, it is for us. I think that if we're, say for instance, we have we have good relationships with the schoolgirls clubs and the schoolgirls league, and we can go and maybe help at times with things that they need help with, and they help us. They help produce really good players. Then them good players are potentially going to go in towards Cork City, which I completely understand when clubs go, but then that could be 4 girls from one club, and it could ruin a team. It could, but realistically, like, that's the pathway for the girls who want to play at that next level. Like, that's where they want to be, and that's what their dream is, to probably play for Cork City at the moment. And then, then for us, it's like we might have a girl from 17 to 18s to 19s, and she don't quite make it into the first team, but then has had good training, been around the environment, understands it, and might not make it, and then goes and plays at the Cork women's level. Like, then all of a sudden, like, that team will be improving because the quality of player that is coming out of it is then going kind of into a local team that is then hopefully helping them improve. So I think that is everyone needs each other's support in terms of doing it, and it's like we can all benefit, but we all have certain ways in where we would benefit from it.
In terms of just on the word support, I mean, people coming out to games, obviously the men's team are getting good crowds this season. Would you like to see more people coming out for the women's games on the Saturdays?
Yeah, no, I think that the kick-offs are moved to 5 o'clock now because the schoolgirls games are in the morning, and to try and get girls out there, we're trying to raise the profile of the girls, because I think it's really important that we raise the profile of the girls, because ultimately people are not coming to watch me. People are coming to watch the girls play who are Cork City. So we need to raise the profile of the girls to have more girls coming out watching, more young girls looking at someone and going, do you know what? Like, for me, it's like being at Cork City. If I'm a player at Cork City, a young girl, and I'm watching a Cork City player, I've got a chance to be there. Yeah. I've got a really good chance. But to look at, say, for instance, a Helen White or a Denise O'Sullivan or Katie McCabe, that's difficult.
Yeah.
That really is next level trying to get to, and I think it will be realistic for some people, but it won't be realistic for everyone. Whereas I think majority of girls have a really good chance of being the next Eva Mannion, next Kira Burke, next Nat O'Brien, the next girls that are coming through to be here at Cork. And I think that if we can help with them understanding that, and they can watch them young girls, and especially like Nat and Kira, who have been around the game for a very long time, that they'll learn something. And then it's all of a sudden now, these young girls have got someone to look up to locally. They can still look at a Katie McCabe and a Denise O'Sullivan, but they've got someone locally to look up to, who then they can go and see on a weekly basis, and probably have a little bit more dialogue with that person as well. And then it drives the point of people really wanting to go out to games and getting the interest, and then more young girls going, Dad, I want to go. I know John O'Sullivan was saying the other day on Twitter how his daughter was driving him mad to go to the Athlone game. Yeah. I want to hear more stories like that. I want to see more girls coming out and watching the games, and we need to get the girls out at games initially to be able to keep them there and getting them watching.
And just in terms of your own perspective, how are you liking being back at Cork City FC? I mean, you spent many years here. What's it like being back in Cork and being back to the club?
Yeah, loving it. Do you know what? It's weird because you never ever. It doesn't feel like I've been away. Yeah. I feel like I've come back and I walked straight back into it.
Yeah.
And
things change, really, but a lot of things don't.
It's like things have changed. Carney's got a little bit smaller. So I'm still tall in Carney, so that hasn't changed much. But for me, things don't change, and what's been really nice is the amount of support that I've had from everyone within the club. Obviously, there's a lot of lads I've played with on the boys' side, but coming into training on Sunday morning, and I'm sorting out the kit for the girls, and I'm sitting down in the office, and Hila comes in, he goes, unlucky, and you're like, but having a conversation with him about the women's game, and him saying, and we're just kind of breaking things down a little bit, and everyone's kind of had a massive interest, which I didn't know if it would be like that, because personally I thought it might have been a bit fraction where it's like the boys and the girls, but the boys Beats would be texting me, Carnes would text Dan Murray, Minty, the boys text you and they're like, unlucky, I watched it, and they probably haven't had an interest in watching it up until now that I've come in. And now they've got an interest in it, and now they've watched a few games. Now all of a sudden they want to watch more games. They're getting a bit into it. They're like, And I think that's been really nice though, having that support from people who I've played with, who I have a lot of respect for. So it's been really good, and I was in a pub in Passage the other day, and I was getting something to eat. Now I wasn't having a beer, and it was just literally walked in there, and 3 or 4 people were like, "Kai, you were unlucky yesterday." like they actually had the game on the telly in the pub.
It shows people are actually taking notice, so doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's like it was nice because you're like going, maybe we are starting to turn a corner. Maybe we are starting to get more of an interest. Then they were like asking about certain players, and you're like going, well, it is really like people are watching the games, and I think it's lovely to have more and more people out there. It'd be ideal if we get the Shed Boys out there for one game, even if it was one
That'd
game.
be class,
just get them all out there, just to create an
yeah.
atmosphere. Look, you know, maybe we'll wait till we have shells and we get them out for that game. But you know, if they can come out to as many games as possible, it'd be great. But I just think teams come to Turner's Cross, like say like Athlone the weekend, and they're looking around going, wow, like what facility.
They're playing in a proper stadium. Yeah.
You know, and we can. That also helps with attracting players.
Yeah.
Like it really does, and I think if we can get our own sort of fan base separate to the men's, brilliant. You know, but we also do need some of the support from them as well to come out to games. So look, there are things we're going to work on. And I know we've got a lot of stuff going on, and we're trying to do that. And there's a lot. I think that it's starting to really turn a corner. I think that people are showing a massive interest, and I think people need to understand now that the women's game is growing. It's not going anywhere. It's staying, and they need to jump on the bandwagon now and get behind it, because if you do, you'll have the success that we're going to have. And I really do believe that the current group of players can be successful. There's things we need to still tidy up on and improve on. But I really do believe that come next year, there'll be a different team. And come the year after that, there'll be an even better team. And I think that if they stick together, which they have done, and I think, as I said to them after the weekend, look, I know I can be the grumpiest person ever after a game, and I will say things that might upset you, but it doesn't mean I don't care.
Yeah.
And more of it's the point of that I don't like losing, and I get very passionate within the games. And I think the girls are starting to get more like that, and it's starting to really hurt. And I think that if we can have that where we're coming off a pitch and it hurts, like not winning, hurts that you've dominated a game for 70, 80 minutes and you've conceded again. But if we can keep turning them into positives and understanding, look, we wasn't at that level 8 weeks ago. Now we are.
Yeah.
You know, and now we're being competitive, and now we're being a stronger team. And I think if we start to get all these things together, we'll be very close.
Great stuff, Danny. Listen, best of luck for the rest of the season at the weekend.
Appreciate it.